Hello, and welcome to the Cosmic Collective Summit. This series was created to connect intuitive healers, spiritual entrepreneurs, and cosmic changemakers who want to build community, create financial freedom, and expand their healing impact. We are going to be sharing a ton of incredible inspiration, information, and helpful resources and advice on how to start and grow your sacred business, step into courageous leadership, and create both prosperity and healing in your life and in the world. So, as you are taking in all of these amazing insights from our incredible speakers, I want to challenge you to find at least one takeaway that you can put into action right away. So, make sure you grab a pen and paper, you close out the extra tabs on your computer, tuck your phone away, and really get grounded and present because we have so much to share with you. And if you want to go one better, you can head over to the Cosmic Collective Facebook group and share your takeaway there so we can start supporting one another on our quest and creating community. I'm your host, Sara Powers, and let's give a warm welcome to Anna Kowalska. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, Sara. So awesome to be here. Your topic is so on point with where we are right now. It's amazing. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so grateful that you're here. And I want to share just a little bit about Anna. Anna Kowalska guides women to birth their highest soul level body of work so they can fully embody their soul purpose and live prosperously.
Mm-hmm.
Anna went from creating traditional success, which checked all the boxes but left her feeling empty and lost, to creating a successful business and life based on her unique design. She is devoted to co-creating a world of harmony, unity, purpose, and prosperity within and without for all of life by activating New Earth leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are going to be talking with Anna about birthing your soul's work.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so excited to dive into this with you, Anna. But before we do, I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your journey. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. How can I summarize it? Right? We always have these stories that can be told in many ways. But to keep it short, I lived. So first of all, I was born and raised in a communist country. And for a while, I didn't even include it as part of my story, but it is a huge part of who I am and how I became who I am. So I was born and raised in an environment where authority came from the outside and opportunities didn't really exist. And if they were opportunities, they were usually under the table and somebody scammed somebody. You did it on a black market, that's how you got ahead. Otherwise, you didn't. So when I was in the late teen years, I came to America and I came with the promise of a different future, which I was 16 and a half. I mean, if you think about yourself 16 and a half, what kind of a future are you even thinking about? But then it's a promise of a different future, different than what? So when I think about that, what I was sold on is but I don't even understand. But I was coming to America, the land of 90210 and dynasty and, opportunity. So let's go. And in my 20s, I created success very, very quickly. I lived a life that I watched on TV. All of a sudden, I had anything that I ever wanted, and it wasn't comfortable. Now I can tell from this perspective, it wasn't comfortable, so I got rid of it. I recreated it, got rid of it, recreated it, got rid of it. When I say got rid of it at the time, it wasn't like it was intentional. It was just part of an experience, things that happened. But I've done enough work on myself that I can tell I absolutely intended to not have that as an experience. So I started to ask myself a question. If all of those earthly possessions, material possessions, material success, certain status, were not what was feeding my soul, what was making me feel happy, because that's what happened. I had all these things, but I didn't feel happy, fulfilled, or I felt like something was missing. So I started to ask, what gives? If all of that checks the boxes, right, is not what makes me feel happy, fulfilled, passionate, or wanting to wake up in my life, like living my life, then what gives? And that started me on a journey to awakening to spirit, awakening to divinity, awakening to purpose. I had a purpose still as something I do. So once I figure out what to do, then everything will change. So then I got lost in what is this thing I'm here to do? And the journey took me on discovery, self-discovery. And that's when I redefined purpose, not as something to do, but something that I am purposely, as per my intention at the soul level, in co-creation with the collective, for the humanity. And when I am that, then there is something specific that I express it with, which is your soul's work. So it showed up in a form of a business. For the first few years, I tried to deny it, and I still worked for other people. So I was no longer in the corporate because that didn't serve me. I started to work contract positions and try different things, but it was still for other people, supporting other people's visions. Nothing wrong with working for other people, but I was building and growing other people's visions. And finally, about 7 years ago, it'll be 7 years in January, I said, that's it, no more. And I committed full time to growing my business. And with all the work that I have done in my spiritual evolution, in my spiritual growth and my personal growth, nothing has served me more than being a business owner. And farther than that, being a spiritually based business owner, co-creating with the universe, source, divine, God, whatever you'd like to call it, co-creating, evolving, growing, and allowing my business to expand and express the evolution that I am a part of. So now, having all of that in my background, I decided to support other people, not necessarily with business coaching, but more from a perspective of who do you get to be to birth your soul's work, to be here for what collective humanity is waiting for through us right now. I know we'll talk about that as we keep going. And also have the earthly prosperity, because money is still part of our conversation, still part of our interaction, still a symbol of exchange between each other, among each other. So absolutely must be part of the conversation and part of the journey. So helping people birth their soul's work in alignment with their soul purpose and their prosperity is what I do now.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that journey with us. And I know, our viewers are all at different stages of that journey, trying to figure out what is my soul's work, and really trusting that, and trusting that process of birthing that. So how does someone really, if they're in the middle of I'm not sure what my soul's work is, and, I'm thinking of the birthing process, that's such an intense, metaphor for what that means to bring your soul's work to the world. Yeah.
It's such a great question. So first of all, let me just say where we are as humanity, the old ways of operating will no longer be working. So, and this is not fear mongering. This is just what's so. Jobs are going away. We already know. Artificial intelligence is already here. It's not like we can do anything about it. We brought it in collectively, and we can use it to our advantage. And the old style businesses will go away. It's all part of evolution. We're talking about the cosmic energy. There is a speeding up of the evolution for the whole, not just our planet, but our space in the cosmic order. So with that comes the human evolution for humanity. How we've been doing things will not be supported energetically because we are up-leveling in our frequency. So by nature of that, the way we were, our legal system, our communication systems, our education system, our health system, it's all falling away. But we already, so many of us are connected to alternative. I'm trying to not say too much because I don't want to offend anybody, but Many people are no longer relying on the Western medicine. There is a space for that. But so many of us are aware that that no longer is like, if you cut your arm open, go and get it sewn back on. But everything else that's happening with our bodies, it all starts energetically, and we can begin to heal it at the energetic and then use healing modalities to bring our body in alignment, and the healing will occur. So Western medicine will have to shift and catch up. Our education system is so outdated, and we know it. Most parents already don't agree with it. And that gets to be reinvented. And then, of course, there is this whole conversation of people awakening and not having tools to deal with what's going on. All the mental, upheaval that's happening in a mental health realm, a lot of it has to do with the frequency upgrading and people becoming aware of things that are no longer in alignment, but not knowing what to do with it. All of the calamities that are happening on planet Earth, we, the healers, have the tools. I'm sure you, Sara, meditate every day, and you journal, and you regulate your nervous system in some way, probably every single day, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But there are many people who have no access to simple tools. They've heard about them. Somebody might have mentioned it here or there. They Googled it once in a while, but they never gave themselves a space to use the tools. So what happens? They are getting impacted more and more emotionally, mentally, energetically by what's going on, even if it's on the other side of the world. Great to stay in energetic connection to source what we want to see for the world. Not so great if you actually are impacted and now it's affecting your productivity, right? Your connection with your family, your community. So having said all that, everything is going to change. Mm-hmm. All the systems are going to change. And every single person that is alive right now has a piece of something that will be birthed as the final or the way to get to the next place. Mm-hmm. So I just spoke with an amazing woman, and we were sharing the visions that we've had years ago, that we know we will not live this lifetime. So the vision that we saw for parts of different industries, we're like, this probably will not happen in this incarnation. Maybe if I come back again 2 or 3 times, it will, but not this lifetime. Like this is like 200-300 years away. Mm. But there are pieces that we were given to implement this lifetime. And I know it's true for everybody else. So we're beginning to ask, what is the soul's work that I'm here to do? And we wanted to have it tied up, written as a script. I'm an accountant, I'm a dentist, I'm a teacher in the 2nd grade. Like we're looking for a definition that when you say it, people understand what it is, that you could talk about at the next dinner date with your friends, and they'll be like, oh, isn't that impressive? But that's not what the soul's work is, right? Soul's work doesn't have a definition. Soul's work is something that keeps evolving through us as we serve with it. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I support my clients with, and it's what happened for me, is you don't actually know what it is until you begin to serve. You attract the people you are here to serve, which I call divine appointments. And then they inform you through your work together, the evolution of your soul's work. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So where do you begin? Right? Because it's like chicken or the egg. Well, if I'm going to serve to find out, I got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You start where you are. So some of us are clear. We are drawn to certain modalities. Mm-hmm. And then we study them, start there. Some of us might just be drawn to serving people and we don't know how. This is where what has your life prepared you for? Now, I don't want to be Pollyanna about it. And just because you've had a certain experience, now go and serve people. There is still a capacity with which you can serve based on your experience. So I very rarely say, go do it just because you know how to do it. Go do it to the level to which you have confidence to do it. Mm-hmm. And then there is always somebody who is a step behind you that you get to call forward. Mm-hmm. So this is where the connection with people you are here to serve comes in. Like I think about people that worked with me when I began, my goodness, 15 years ago, I began as a health coach. That's where my journey started 16 years ago. Well, give or take a day. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea what coaching looked like. I had no idea how to guide people. All I could do is, this is what I know. This is what worked for me. This is the certification I have for. Let me show you how to guide you within the scope. And then I kept taking steps and learning, of course, many, many certifications later. But the idea behind it was that who I called in to work with me was always just one step behind me. So when we are asking, what is the soul's work? One, it's already inside of you. Two, there are tools. All right, so you ready to get into some tools?
Yeah, let's do some tools.
Okay. So I'm sure you've heard of human design, perhaps, gene keys. I use a tool called scientific hand analysis, which is a study of the lines in your hands and your fingerprints. Tools like that have an insight into what we came here to bring in. It still will not pinpoint and say, I'm going to use it as an example. You are an accountant for, and even within that, you want to niche down, right? So it won't say you are an accountant for shoemakers. I'm making stuff up because it's fun. It still is going to give you a direction. But without a fail, every single time I work with somebody and I point out a direction, they can already look backwards and say, oh yeah, absolutely. I can see how I've been prepared for that. And I can see when I knew it and pretend that I didn't.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Getting that affirmation, right, is really powerful for people. Yeah. I work with astrology. So kind of a similar.
There you go.
Yes.
Thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All these systems point out usually to very specific area within which we came here to either grow through, but then also serve, right? So the area to where we came to grow through is the area where we came to serve.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of what you were saying before, how creating your business, that soul work that you do, has been one of the greatest, spiritual practices and has really pushed you to grow. I feel absolutely the same way. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers do as well.
Yeah. And some people, even who have already started the journey and maybe they already do something within that scope, times are changing and there may be a tweaking that's necessary. Why? Because maybe you started somewhere and it's no longer aligned. You started because somebody told you that that's a profitable niche. Maybe you started because you saw somebody post on social media and say, oh my gosh, I just had a 5-figure day. And you're like, what do you do? And they told you, and you're like, well, that's clearly what I should be doing. But you didn't follow your design, your blueprint, your soul's calling. You just chose to do that. No problem. But now it's time to own up to it, because 2024, we are recording this at the end of 2023, but 2024 is the year when we will be called to step forward. Those of us who have the tools, those of us who have been doing the work, even for a minute, we will be called to step forward and be the space for others to access their own power, their own authority, to step on a ground that's not wobbly, because the old ground is going to keep wobbling even more. All of that we have created as humanity up until now is going away. All of that we are creating is based on something very pure within us that is not legalized or borderlined or governmentalized. Is that even a word? This is something so much more beautiful and pure. And within it will begin to come together with communities of people who are together supposed to be creating something right now. Not forever, but just in the moment. So old will go away. People will not know what to hold on to. Their tribes will be falling apart. And we are humanity is such a tribal collective. And we already see it falling away. A lot of people are choosing their chosen family versus their blood family. Some people are moving away from religious backgrounds because they realize that didn't serve them. Nothing against religion, but it's a tribe where they aligned with that no longer serves them. And that's going to continue. So as we move away from that, we raise the frequency to begin to be our sovereign beings. Now where do I belong? Now who are my people? Who do I get to be with? Because I'm not meant to be alone still. Well, a new community, a new soul tribe community. So those of us who have any kind of tools, experience, wisdom, we must stand as leaders to give the people somewhere to connect to.
Yeah. It really does feel like we're going through this death rebirth process, right?
Yeah.
And it's intense. And yeah, the people who are here today listening, I know that you have healing gifts and tools that you're meant to step up and really share and lead the way through this process. Yeah, you're really needed here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I cannot stress it. I mean, in 2020, when the whole world came to a stop, let's call it that, we already knew that this is a beginning of something. I mean, we were in conversations. I led a summit similar to yours. I chose to have 45 speakers, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But I felt the calling. People will be looking for something to connect to. And we already started talking to, this is not just going to go away. This is a beginning to something so much bigger. And of course, there have been people who have been doing work in a spiritual realm for decades. But what happened in 2020 with COVID and, the whole world coming to a complete stop, that was a beginning of this very collectively impactful. So not just a tribe, a country, a culture, whole entire collective of humanity was impacted. And that was the beginning of this wave that we knew will keep on coming, and it will keep on coming.
Right.
Until everybody who is meant to be part of the new earth will choose to be there. So this is, 2024 is this like a whole new level to which we get to own our gifts. And yes, if you are alive right now, you're alive for a reason. I strongly believe it. And it's like, I believed it. I took it on as truth because I heard it in the ether. And then the deeper I do this work, the more I do the work with people, the more I realize and I see it in their fields, in their energetic fields. There is a reason. We are each component and a part of what's happening, a necessary piece. And there are people who are not aware of what's going on. They are not listening to your summit, right? They're not connected to this message, Sara. Those are not the people. Their purpose is very different. They may never truly know what it is, and they don't care. They're not aware, they don't care. People who are watching know that there is something bigger happening through them, and they want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, even as you're here and you know that you're meant to be a part of this huge shift that's happening, there's still, fear that can show up, right? And
Absolutely.
doubt. So how do we start to work through that so we really can step into that leadership?
First of all, don't wait for the fear to go away. I'm scared every day. Every day. Every day I am aware of some vibration on the planet. Either physically something happens, or I sense something, or I see through my third eye where this could go, and I'm scared. I'm scared to talk about the things I talk about because I didn't grow up with it being okay. I grew up in a very Catholic environment, a communist country where if you stepped outside of the line, you could cost your life. So I'm only second generation after World War II, and I'm come from Eastern Europe. So all of that is very much in my bones. So I'm scared every day. But what changes for me is this was actually a very pivotal moment. And it wasn't until like a couple years into my business when I connected to who I'm here to serve, when I connected to the essence of the people, not necessarily their name or age or email or phone number that came after that. But when I connected to the essence and the importance of the work that I get to do, and then when I started to hear from people, either my clients, soon to be clients, or just people who are in my tribe, like for you, people who are tuning in right now, when they began to let me know that this message today landed for them and it got them through the day, and then this message landed for them and it shifted their perspective and they chose something new, or what they heard, what they applied, took them on a completely new trajectory. That's when I said, wow, my fear is dwarfed by the people who are waiting. So we call it, I'm a transformational trainer. So in transformation, we call it focusing out. I say your purpose is yours, but it's not for you. Most people will find out what their purpose is, their soul's work, But until they actually connect to who it's for, they will get the tingles. They will feel good for a moment and they will get stuck in fear. Everything changes when we begin to truly in our heart and soul connect to, no, this purpose was chosen because I've made agreements at the soul level to deliver this for somebody that needs it for their own transformation. Now, I no longer say, I don't feel like it, because when I don't feel like it, it's just me. It's about me. I no longer say I'm scared, I'm not gonna do it. I'll wait till my fear goes away. I'm too scared today. Like, I don't say that anymore. Because I know, and I took it on so very deeply, that it gave power to my commitment to my business. It shaped my drive. Like, people are afraid of the word drive. I'm not. I'm driven, but I'm driven because I know of the difference that I'm here to make. And I can see in my mind's eye, and everybody here knows, like, anybody who's still hoping and praying for peace on planet Earth and wishing things go back to something else is completely delusional. I'm sorry. I have tremendous compassion, and it's delusional thinking. We are bringing the peace, the harmony, the prosperity, and it is because we choose to lead with something different versus being thrown into what is by default already happening, which is what we do when we give into fear. So fear is not going to go away. It's part of our natural programming. The new generation of humans might not have a fear as deeply embedded. We are still very animal-based, and fear is part of our conditioning, so we don't get killed by the lions or eaten, or, that we survive as a species. New generations may not have that coded because we no longer need it, but we still carry it. So be afraid, but don't let it stop you. Well, that's why having support helps, right? So having coaches, being in a community, being connected to other people who are on a mission really supports, because you don't feel like there's something wrong with you or that you're doing something wrong. You can be reminded that no, that fear just means you are stretching outside of what you have known up until now. Keep going. People are waiting, right?
Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging that fear is part of this process and normalizing that for us. And yeah, just the way to move through that is really to connect to that soul's purpose and to something larger than yourself, and to be willing to admit that, we need each other. We need to be in community and to ask for support when we need it, because again, this is a really intense time that we're moving through. And it is scary, and we also are here for a reason. And by showing up to that, we're moving through that into what is really possible for us. So I'd love to hear, as more and more of us do start to step into that courageous leadership and really understand and live our soul's work, what do you see unfolding? I know you said you were getting visions of what's possible in the next, 100, 200 years. So even if this isn't in our lifetime, the work that we're contributing to, what do you see as possible for us in the cosmic collective?
Yeah, so I'll throw it out there, but then I'll bring it back, because people do want to know, like, okay, but what about tomorrow, right? Like, what about tomorrow and today? So out into the future, we really truly step into the era of humanity that values the life force energy that flows through us. So 100, 200 years ago, it looks like there is this agreement of a collective contribution. Nobody needs to protect anything anymore because there is nothing to fight over. We are all collaborating together to create something that we each benefit from. And it's not just on this planet, but it's intergalactically, right? We are part of a cosmos, of a cosmic galactic collective, and we exchange that contribution between not just as a planet, but also other systems, planetary systems. We will also discover that a lot of things that we have learned about our planetary system is not true. So we will begin to source our resources differently. That's going to change a lot of how we live day-to-day life. So that's all coming. The most beautiful, sweetest part of it is this freedom to be truly expressed. If you are born to write poetry, then that's what you'll do, and you will be contributing that frequency in a way that has you live a certain way, up to your desire. No, there will no longer be this, you should get paid this much for this job, and this is what this job has a description of. There will be some way in which we quantify contribution, but it no longer will be, well, this job yields this amount of money, and if you have this kind of education, you should do this job. It will be more on the energetic contribution, like the energetic behind the contribution, versus the amount of time or the amount of education, or there will be wisdom. So as far as experience, there will be wisdom. So if you have large wisdom, large source of wisdom, then you hold a certain position just by nature of that wisdom. But it's not because you have a certain education, could be, but it also because of how you source it. Maybe you have access to it through different dimensions or different experiences through the journey of your soul's life, not just your physical life. So that's like going into the future. It's a sweet, sweet experience when every time I think about it. It's the whole idea of struggle goes away, and we learn that challenges are a way to grow through, and it's how we expand when we overcome a challenge. Instead of suffering and struggle, being a victim to it, we truly begin to learn that when there is a challenge and we learn how to walk through it, now we have a pearl of wisdom to share. Our wisdom just expanded. My capacity just expanded. So that's what's going to happen along the way. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow is a beginning of that in a way, because even the way that I talk about prosperity, it's not the way that we get paid, is the way to which we allow ourselves to receive the pay for it. So the new earth leaders, healers, business owners, it's not what the market will bear, right? Like the whole saying, what will the market bear? What is the average price for a Reiki session? No. If anybody still operates in that paradigm, I really, really, really encourage you to give it up, because that is still holding it within a certain restriction. When we begin, like you're restricting how much can flow through you by the nature of what you allow yourself to pay, to receive as a pay and to pay. So think about it this way, and I'm going to bring it back down to the ground. The reason why in a coaching industry, there is no regulation in a coaching industry. And I think that's exactly the depiction of what's coming. We are the ones who determine how much something should be valued, but based on what it is that I want to receive, in agreement with the person who is delivering it. And it doesn't matter if they tell me, well, it's going to take an hour, but when you leave here after an hour, XYZ will no longer be true for you. And that's why you can have a different experience of life. Well, that's worth 500,000 to me. Great. Then does it, fine, pay me. This is the link, right? And a person says, this is how much I want to receive. It no longer it will be based on, you're going to work a year with me, and this is why you're going to pay, 25,000, 50,000, whatever. It's more about, what would you like to experience? Well, I would like to experience XYZ. Okay. Based on my experience, this is what it could look like. No promises, because you are a dynamic human being and I can't control your environment. You can't control your environment. So for XYZ, I charge this much. And the person says, you know what? This feels absolutely aligned for me. I would like to be in that partnership with you. Right? Even a healer, I mean, think about it. It hurts me. It hurts me when I just had a conversation with a healer who was having difficulty receiving $100 for 1 hour session. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I respect it. I appreciate it. But why is that? Well, I can't imagine anybody would pay any more than that for an hour of lying on my table and me just holding their hands over them. I'm like, wow, what do you think is worth to them to feel better right now? Oh my goodness, if they got rid of this pain on that pain, I mean, their whole life could change. And you don't think it's worth $100? The same person is paying many hundreds of dollars. I live in the United States. Healthcare, health insurance. They are already paying hundreds of dollars every single month, and most of the time not using it. So do you think that they are willing to pay at least $100 to be on your table one time so you can move energy for them if they understand how it works, or not even? Once you work through this, all right, now let me raise the frequency on it. The more I value the life force that's flowing through me, the more I stand behind what it can actually create in the collective, but through the person that I'm serving. And the more that I can see them as a capable and resourced person, the more they can show up that way. So if I say nobody will pay me for that, then I'm immediately shaping that person in the view of, you are not capable, you are not resourceful, and you definitely cannot afford it. Poor little you. But the minute that I expand that field and I say, this is what I require to do this work with you, and the life force flowing through me that I package this way, and these are the words I put on it that still don't quantify what I do, but this is what I can tell you. If this, in order to do this work, I need this much money. And then somebody shows up and you have no idea what's in their bank account, but you're like confidently saying, this is what it's going to be the price for this. And the person says, wow, I have no idea how I could ever pay that, but hold on. You think I can? Well, yeah, I think you can. You are a resourced being. I already know everybody is, so that includes you. Wow, okay, well, hold on. Oh, that's right. I was about to put money in my 401k, which is such a bullshit, sorry. 401k. I was about to put that much money in the 401k, but hold on, I'm going to invest it in this work because actually I see the future here, not there. Yeah, 401k is dead. Don't do it anymore. All of a sudden, what expanded is this person's view of themselves. Now they see themselves as somebody who is able, capable, resourceful, creative, and investing in their future. So we are now in a collaboration of seeing ourselves as a higher, creative, resourced beings. And we don't value something based on what the market bears, but based on what we see as possible through this work and the life force flowing through us. That's why people like have so much to say about coaching industry and like high ticket prices. I'm like, I think it's the best thing ever. If people know how to use the energy of that to their advantage, meaning use every time you invest, see yourself as something you are gaining versus losing. Because most people still think, oh my God, I spent so much money. No. You took energy that was about to die with 40. I don't know why I'm using this example, but here it is. All right. You are taking the energy of money and putting it in a dead horse. It was dead, but you're still feeding it. And now you're putting it into something that's alive, expanding. And thus you are a wise human being that's capable, resourceful. Oh, wow. All of a sudden I take it on as my identity. From that place, anything is possible. So we are creating a whole new economy that way. Is that fun?
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah. So we've got this big picture vision of what's going to be possible for us 100, 200 years in the future and beyond. And now kind of think about how do we start? How do we contribute our piece of that? And that includes, expanding our awareness of how we want to shape our economy and our energetic exchange.
Yes. And that's the future we are creating. Whether we like it or not, it's going to happen. So may as well be a part of it.
Be intentional about it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have a gift for our viewers to help them move in this direction. You're offering your support in that way for our viewers today. So can you share a little bit about what you are giving?
Yes, so it is activating sacred success. Sacred success is merging of the tangible success. When I create something I intend to, I'm successful. It doesn't mean I have a certain amount of money or I live somewhere. That's the old definition. Success means I intend to create something and here it is. This is my reality. Now I've been successful with that. And a sacred, which is co-creation, divinity, using everything that's available to us in the unseen to create a reality we want to live in. So it's activating your sacred success. The 5 steps that I used when I realized something was missing from the tangible, everything I could ever imagine and more was available to me, but I was still empty. From that place, the steps that I've taken to begin to live in alignment with my purpose, with who I am, co-creating with the universe, seeing how the limiting beliefs moving through them, and then being able to serve in a way that I do, showing up every day for my business. So it's the 5 steps that I created and have taken my clients for years now, over and over again, for them to have a new relationship with their soul's work, with money, and with how they came here to serve.
Perfect. That is so generous of you to offer your wisdom and your experience in this way. So everyone, make sure that you grab that download below, and you can also connect with Anna through her links below. So make sure you stay in touch with her. She's offering lots of incredible insights with us through the internet and beyond. So make sure you stay in touch with her. And is there anything that you want to leave our viewers with before we sign off for today?
We are living in the most amazing time with such polarity, where there is a lot of fear because of everything that's happening that we wish didn't. There is a lot of pain and suffering, and at the same time there is this tremendous energy of opportunity of the new earth we are creating. And the more that we cannot ignore necessarily the pain and suffering, but move our attention towards what it is that we want to create, and create a way for people to connect from that to this. Stop feeding that old and begin to create channels for people like your business to enter the possibility of the new. Now we are co-creating the new earth, which is all about collaboration, collective unity, prosperity, purpose, personal power, personal authority, and creating the life on earth where everybody gets to be fully self-expressed, fully having everything they need and require, not because they begged for it or exchanged their soul for it, but actually through their soul created something that's required now. It's my invitation for you to not wait, but begin right now. Wherever you are, take it to the next level. The time is now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anna, for being here. And thank you to all of our viewers for joining us. Make sure that you let us know what your takeaways are. We'd love to hear from you, and we will see you at the next one.
Thank you.